Hello, good day viewers. I am Dr. Rajni Yadav, Assistant Professor of Department of Journalism and Mass Communication, Tecnia Institute of Advanced Studies. Today we are going to have a topic on 7C's of communication or our first semester subject, Communication Concepts and Processes. So students, today our topic is on 7C's of communication. So after this, going through this content, students, you will be able to understand the skills of effective communication, barrier in an organization, gain and as well as you will gain knowledge about the principle of effective communication, which are also known as 7C's of effective communication. So the students, let's further move to our 7C's of communication. You know students, communication is beset by a number of impediments. Simple cognizance of these hurdles is not enough unless the participants stick to a certain principles that makes communication effective and fruitful. These are the 7C's of communication. Firstly, we say clarity, conciseness, concreteness, correctness, courtesy, completeness, and last one, consideration. So student, here we learn about the 7C's. So we need to move beyond an explanation of 7C's and connect them to their real world domain, that specific implications. So student, firstly in the Indian context and then in the global context. Furthermore, we will also need some experience of being in communicative exchanges to be able to implement the 7C's as well as strive to improve continuously in our successive interactions. The ability to communicate effectively with others is considered a good quality of successful people. So in order to compose an effective oral speech or written message, you should need to understand psychology of your audience, or you say your organization and your community. So the 7C's of effective communication combined with principles would help you to attain your goal. So there are certain principles. First one, clarity. So students, the message you communicated needs to be very much clear to be effectively understood by the listener, or you see audience or recipient, followed by relevant feedback from the listener, or you say recipient. So that confirm the success or the successful process. Next one is our clarity. The application we will discuss. In clarity, when we applicate it, the most important is language related factors that speakers need to be careful about. To preserve clarity, we can do first one, vocabulary. To keep it as simple as possible you can, without assuming anything about the receiver competence. Vocabulary levels vary, and in the Indian context, in rich multicultural spaces. So there are individuals differently trained in English belonging to different socio-cultural backgrounds. Next one is our ambiguity. So students, the message must also be free from both, firstly structure as well as semantic ambiguity. So to ensure that unintended interpretations should be avoided. You see, in our Indian context, with varying levels of proficiency in English and different ways to understand, an ambiguous message can be catastrophic for the communication process. Next, excessive jargonizations. Heavy jargonization is ineffective in the Indian context. Students, due to stark levels in level of vocabulary as well as preferences for non-technical expression, to improve comprehensibility in an uneven arena. So students, next move on conciseness. So the message you communicated must be precise and to be to the point. So without any unnecessary details that do not serve the primary purpose and that can not only waste your time of the listener or you say the recipient, so it should be clear. Talking about the application of this, the point that we need to stress on the process of communication to maintain conciseness, firstly, economy of expression. The use of words should be very much cross-checked to eliminate redundancy and paraphrasing repetition of the same message. While speaking, fillers and pat phrases need to be taken out of the picture. Moreover, subconsciously inserted expressions of an annoying frequency like you see, kind of, definitely, I mean, for example, basically need to be limited cautiously. Second one, substituting cluttering phrases with economic alternatives in the context of effective communication. Let's move further to concreteness. The idea of conveyed must be specific and provide the listener a straightforward image of intended message. While applying it, while engaging in a conversation, the issues that we need to be mindful of with respect to concreteness, that are, first one you can say, not making any vague or fuzzy statement. For instance, in case of business proposal, invoking historically without pertinent facts and figures is not effective. Next one, we say replacing abstract expressions with statical ones. Like, in numbers we have to be very much clear. Let student move further to correctness. The message you deliver relayed must be free from grammatical error or mistakes of the pronunciations, while applying the points that we need to be cautious about while addressing the issue of correctness. Like for an Indian English speaker, grammatical concerns like appropriate prepositions, omissions and commissions of articles, conjugation of verbs and sentence schema are quite troublesome. While conversing, incorrect pronunciation can create a bad first impression in the recipient's mind. Let students talk about courtesy. The message communicated must maintain a desirable level of courtesy and decorum with respect to the use of words, expressions and tone. The nuances that we need to adhere to while dealing with the issue of courtesy are substituting negative messages with their positive version or replacing offensive expressions with euphemistic ones. Students, now we will talk about completeness. The message must contain every relevant detail of the intended purpose and be apt regarding the necessary elements. As we take part in our conversation, our focus to address the issue of completeness is on rechecking thematically the inclusion of information that is essential for fulfilling the goal. For instance, if it is a conversation about leisurely get-together, it must contain details of the people to be invited or included, the place of get-together, the date, time or get-together and activities should be planned. Next word, checking for missed details, as per the requirement of your conversation. Now student, let's move further on another C, that is consideration. Students, the message relayed must take into the account of listeners or recipient's profile. Its social background, cultural sensibility, preferences, nature, as well as the beliefs to suit the listeners or the recipient's needs while fulfilling the speaker's purpose. The aspects that we need to prioritize to address the issue of consideration, that are remembering the cross-cultural indices. Anything that is colored with cultural bias has to be removed or remodeled. For instance, in a complex Indian conversational space, any comment praising or stereotyping a particular ethnic group can be disastrous. A statement to be avoided. Next we say steering clear of any religious or social dogmas and avoiding emotionally charged statements. I hope viewers you liked and understand this lecture on 7 C's of communication, and please don't forget to like, comment, share. For having further latest videos, please do subscribe our channel Tecnia TV. Thank you.